I'm not breaking any news here when I say the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser was a failure. It was open a little bit more than a year, but it was announced it was going to be closing in less than a year opening, and lots of things led to the demise of this. The main reason being the price point for this, as it was basically $2,500 per night to experience this basically 2-day LARPing event that you could do based on a Star Wars story. Now, it did have interest from people, and to its defense, the people that did it did say they enjoyed it, but for most people, the price point alone was just too far of a reach, and not enough people were willing to pay that. But since its closure, there was lots of rumors out there that it was going to turn into a Marvel hotel, that it was going to become a story and a dinner type of event, amongst other things. But when asked about this directly last September, Josh D'Amaro said, quote, "No hints yet," as D'Amaro says, smiling, "but something will happen."
Really?
Well, something did happen with that, so he was not lying about that. But I don't think people anticipated what they were going to do with it, which is that the Galactic Starcruiser will be turned into offices for Walt Disney Imagineering.
It's over.
A report from The Wrap says that the former Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser will be turned into offices for Walt Disney Imagineering. The move has been sort of an open secret for some time, but Disney will now reportedly move forward with the plans. The offices will reportedly be the home of various Imagineering project teams, as Walt Disney World launches a number of projects around the resort. I mean, it is kind of ironic on some level that the building, in which is one of the most public failures that Disney has had in the last, decade, 2 decades, is going to be the place in which Imagineering is going to have offices, which, if you know this building, there really wasn't much they could do with it. I had asked at the time, and I really said that all the things that were rumors out there, I didn't think would happen, because Disney also, one of the reasons they closed this was because they took a tax break on this. So they did, I forget how much money they got out of it, but they did get some money out of the tax breaks of this. But one of the things about doing that is you can't then just use that building for whatever you would like, as you would likely have to pay back those tax breaks. Now, I'm not an accountant, so that is not financial advice, so I could be wrong on that, but from my understanding, I don't think that they could just take the building and just make a whole new attraction out of it whenever they already took a tax break by closing it. So I always felt like it was not going to be an attraction on some level because of that reason. So turning it into offices likely is one of the things they could do with this. And if you know that building as well, I mean, there's no windows in the rooms, as it was, a lot of people talked about. There was windowless rooms. It was supposed to look like you were in space. So a lot of those rooms are just going to be retrofitted to become offices. And to be quite honest, it's not really a huge story. I mean, it is kind of ironic and a little funny that this building is going to become that, but it really probably is a decent use of the space to do this. And it's going to be near the park. So it does give Imagineers the ability to go into the parks, especially the Hollywood studios being closer there. So in that terms, I mean, it is just kind of one of those things of, it was so publicized about this hotel offering. And I had said before it even opened that I felt like there was going to be people that would do this, and they would likely enjoy it. And like I said, the people that I knew that did this, they all said they really enjoyed it. So I never experienced it, so I can't speak to how it was. But I just know the price point for most people was completely out of the realm for most people. To take a family in here and experience this, no matter how great the experience might be, the price point alone was really going to undercut this. And I think that the price just meant that demand was not going to be there to sustain this long term. But also, I think this goes into the problems that the hotel was. Star Wars itself is not a strong IP right now. It's been really dwindling ever since Disney bought it after the newest Star Wars movies really had the audience fall off. A lot of people who are been lifelong Star Wars fans are no longer into it, and they based not only Galaxy's Edge, but this Starcruiser experience after the sequel trilogy.
I bypassed the compressor.
I think if they would have done this, even at the price point was that, and let's say it was based on the prequels, the original trilogy, or they changed the story in here, it would have given people more reason to try this, or opened it up to more people that possibly would want to do this, even if price was not an obstacle for them. But ultimately, it wasn't one reason, but I think the main reason, if you're going to break this up into a pie chart or something, I think probably the majority of the reason of the failure of the Starcruiser was simply the price point alone, as the sticker shock was a lot for many. Now, the idea of the Starcruiser, I always thought was a really inventive idea, to have an experience, a LARPing experience of going in and really living out a story off of an IP that you do enjoy. And unfortunately, that probably means ideas like this going forward from Disney are probably not going to happen, as this idea has probably been tainted. But I do think if this was a lower price point, that the experience that you have here, it would appeal to some people. And I do think other ideas could work. You could do Marvel, you could do even princess stuff. There's a lot of ideas you could have taken with this and really applied it to other types of experiences. But more than likely, the failure of the Starcruiser does mean that we're not going to see anything like this, at least in the near future. I would highly doubt Disney would take take another risk of this level on the same concept that already failed. Unless new management comes in and decides they want to try something similar, I don't think current management is going to be going after this idea anytime soon. And the closure of it was somewhat of a surprise, as Iger had just come back in after Chapek was fired. And a lot of people thought they could have changed it, they could have tweaked it, they could have done something to this to save it. So it was surprising that Disney just decided to completely scrap the idea and just move on from it. And I think Blog Mickey here sums it up pretty well here. So simply put, the Starcruiser deserved better from Disney. The price point proved to be unsustainable, but the experience was unforgettable. I was fortunate enough to experience the Starcruiser multiple times, and it represented the best of immersive Imagineering and themed entertainment every single time. It was a culmination of what immersion could be and should be, and Disney let it fail. It's unfortunate that DiMauro, Disney CEO Bob Iger, Walt Disney Imagineering, and teams at Walt Disney World were unable to find a creative solution for the space. The Starcruiser, for all its faults on pricing, was exciting for fans of themed entertainment. It was the most ambitious project that Imagineering had taken on in decades, and it was an example of Imagineering taking the lead on immersive theater on a scale that hadn't been attempted before. In many ways, the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser was the canary in the coal mine for modern Disney and Walt Disney Imagineering. As it turns out, the canary is dead. So going forward, the Galactic Starcruiser is going to be offices for Walt Disney Imagineering, which I do imagine if you're an Imagineer that worked on the Starcruiser, that's got to be a little bit foreboding to go into work each day in the building that is one of the biggest disappointments and failures that Disney has had from Imagineering.
'Cause I got no place else to go.
But either way, that's going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about the Galactic Starcruiser building being turned into offices for Walt Disney Imagineering? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.